Well, I'd like to use this drawing to illustrate some of the tools that you'll find in GCAD Plus that will assist if you are producing a sort of subset of your design and you want to make a permeability chart. There are quite a few useful tools. First one I'd like to demonstrate is I'll move across here. I have this awkward looking shape here. Because what we're after is we want a simple polyline that's closed. Let me just pick this one here. And you can see that the polyline runs over that part of the garden design. It's worth putting or using the draw boundary command to set up these sorts of shapes. Obviously this one's quite easy. You can just draw a polyline from end to end. But the boundary command saves you a considerable amount of time and effort. I can find the end point of that line or the intersection of these two. Notice how if I'm hovering over the line, it jumps to that point. But if I get near the intersection, it'll use the intersection option. So I haven't had to go to our OSNAP settings. It's just finding what I'm after. So here, GCAD Plus in this command is looking for the endpoint and intersection. Notice if I go close to the intersection, if you keep your attention up in this area, if I'm close, see how it jumps to the end. But I can get the intersection easily and just move around quickly. And all I need to close it is to come near where we started, and we'll jump there. And now you see we have a polyline, and I'll grab it now and I'll just move it over here. It's one single entity and we can color it. Let's pick up very pale green and we can fill it. It's still one entity. We can say it has a border. We can pick the border color. Let's call it 251, give it a dark edge to it. And then we have an interesting shape, and it's still one entity, takes up hardly any space in the database here, in the GCAD Plus database. But we can click on it, and if we come over here and focus our attention in this box here, we get a length, that's the perimeter of the shape, but also an area. Now, this design has been done in the metric system, and the units are millimeters, so area is calculated as metric, as square units. So we need to square millimeters, so we need to shift the decimal place 6 decimal places, and so it's an area of 7.9. Now that's a little bit awkward to manage, but we have a tool. Let me just check first the current text style. I'll set it at Century Gothic and I'll OK that. That's a sans serif font. And now we have a tool under Tools to measure the area of a closed polyline and label. So let's use it. I'll escape from here. Let's make it easy for us to see. Let's float the command area. This is more for the video benefit than any other purpose. We right-click, AREAMARK. The prompt now says select the closed polyline, so it's easy to pick it. Now we're asked for the input unit. In this case, we want to change from millimeters to meters. It'll be easier for everyone. And where are we going to mark the order? Well, we can put the information anywhere we like. Just so we are here, and as I move my mouse, I'm indicating the text height. you could type that value in if you want to be consistent, and there is the 80 millimetres square. Now, I had forgotten to go to textiles. I'd forgotten to make Century Gothic the current textile, and it's now current. So if I repeat that, AREAMARK, the prompt, pick there, indicate, first tell it that we want meters, and we're going to mark it and put it in there. So now we get a much nicer label. So that's an important and useful tip and tool, I think. Don't forget you have other tools on the standard toolbar whereby we can measure any distance from, and now OSNAP's not operational, but if we might be interested in a rough figure on how that's about 2 meters wide, that garden bed running through here, but we can measure area sort of in a sense on the fly. So here's the area tool, and this time we will need to, what I'll do is there's an impervious area running through here. Obviously it's the driveway, and let's imagine we've got a problem with some railways hardwood sleeper here running through here. We'll deal with that in a moment, but let's imagine we wanted to measure that area and we didn't want to use our tool. We could go across to our snap, turn it on, and we're going to need a running nearest option. And now let's use the area command, because if you haven't used it, it's useful. Now, why is it jumping to I've picked nearest? I want endpoint, don't I? Let's try area again. We should be able to. What is going on? And nearest is still on. We're going to clear all, and then put endpoint on, and I hope we'll now be able to demonstrate the use of area. An endpoint, we can zoom in and get that endpoint, come across here, get that one there, and you'll see a yellow line being drawn. It's not part of the drawing and won't stay, but it's just, if you look in the, as we're moving along, next point, and I've got to use the wheel of the mouse and go in and out, grab that one, and then hit on the beginning one. And you get a cross-hatched view, and we get the total 328,066,619. So you could again shift your decimal place, and that's going to be 32.8 square meters. And those sorts of calculations bothered people when we were first developing GCAD+, and that's the reason for this type, this unit here. So remember, let's get back to the main point. What we're trying to do, generate, is a permeability chart. So if you use the boundary tool and get a polyline, you can pick it like so, write down those area values if you want, and do the calculations on your own. But I've used our AREAMARK tool here to mark 8.1. So we'll total up the area of the porous area, the permeable area on the site. No, it's not the site, it's on the area we're going to landscape, 8.1 meters square, and this one is 46.8 here. So we've got those two can be added up very easily. Let me return the command line to the bottom and snap it down there. So our garden area is 89.5, we've added those up. The non-permeable surface, 32.8, I need to edit that. And the permeable surfaces 56.7 square metres. But I mentioned that for the impermeable, non-permeable surface, and we have to add up this zone, and which was 32.8, and add up, there are 11 hardwood sleepers through here, and each one is, its area is 4.62 metres squared. So we stamped one of them, counted up, there are 11 of them, and then multiplied 0.462 by 11, we get 5.54. We can add that figure to this figure and total it up. Don't forget you have a calculator on the custom toolbar, and you can use that to check your arithmetic, which I need to do in a moment. So producing a permeability chart, knowing how to use these tools is really, really important. This drawing, I might add, this part of the drawing is tiny, and it's not going to overweigh our design itself. I suggest it's useful to have your design off as a separate part of the drawing, and then bring this as its a little copy of the outline, and then use those tools that we've just described.